Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Colts Cast. We're here to talk about everything and anything Indianapolis Colts. My name is Jamal Lawrence, co-host of the Colts Cast, and the loss was so bad today that my co-host Eric decided he would take the day off because he couldn't handle the pressure of coming on here after a big loss like that. Nah, I'm just kidding. He had a couple things to do, so I told him I'll fly solo today and I'll take care of business. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. The massacre that we talked about during the pregame show came to fruition exactly like we spoke of. Final score today after this horrible game, 26-3. Drops the Colts down to now 3-5-1 for our record on the season. And all the way around, just a terrible, terrible game. From the very beginning to the very end, it just seemingly went downhill. Taking it straight from the top, we'll talk about the offense to start off with. Both teams on offense started off the game horribly. I mean, we couldn't get the ball rolling, but that's pretty typical for us. Patriots couldn't get the ball rolling. So at the end of the first quarter, I said, all right, not too bad. We still got a little bit of a chance. And then the Patriots came alive, and we decided not to. Just ramble off some of the stats here to start off for us. Sam Elliott went 15 of 29, 103 yards, and 1 interception. Not bad. When you think of 15 for 29, 103 yards, I mean, that's not good. It's definitely not good. Second game in for him as a starter. After last week, we expected to see it pick up a little bit, but it all started at one place, and that was the offensive line. Keep in mind, guys, we have the highest paid offensive line. $41 million is what our offensive line is worth. And yet they let up 9 sacks and 12 hits on Sam today. He was running around looking like a chicken with his head cut off all game long, and it translated throughout the entire game. We couldn't get the ball rolling at all. Matthew Judon, between him and Josh Uche, they both look like all-stars today. They both had 3 sacks apiece. The stunts were horrible kryptonite for us. They would just bum rush us, and Matt Pryor couldn't do anything. Quentin Nelson couldn't do anything. Braden Smith. I mean, no one could really do anything. Across the board for the O-line, it was just terrible performance. Every stunt they put, I was just like, why don't we just keep a running back here and have him block? Anytime we had Dion back there or anybody else, they would stay back there for a second and peel off for, whether it be a screen or any other pass. They just kind of ran off to the side, and no one stayed back there to help Sam. So he was back there fighting for his life the entire time. Looked terrible. We had drop passes. Jelani Woods, the one big drop pass he had, it was in his hands right there. He could have had it, but he couldn't maintain the ball. Also, that third down pass to Alec Pierce should have been a PI, should have been a pass interference. They didn't call it. However, I would have really liked to see Sam just take the ball and scramble on that. I know he was trying to do the right thing by stuffing the pass in there to get the easy first down for us. But again, had the pass interference not been there, maybe Pierce would have caught that ball. But I think if Sam would have just had his eyes just looking around him a little bit more, he probably would have realized that he had a little more room than what he thought to get out there and get a quick first down, maybe slide for the first down or run out of bounds, whatever the case is. But it was just horrible play for the first half leading into the second half. We averaged a grand total of 1.9 yards per play. Just horrendous. I mean, I don't know whether we made their defense look that good or our offense just looked that bad because we couldn't get anything. I mean, just even reviewing the stats for us, Pierce had 1 reception for 23 yards. Pittman had 3 for 22. Paris had 2 for 15. Wilkins had 4 for 15. Mo Ali Cox 2 for 13. Jackson 2 for 13. And Woods 1 for 2 yards. So, I mean, it was just sloppy all the way around. And as I said, typical Colts fashion, we all of a sudden are getting down. We're down 13-0 at halftime. Said it during the Titans game. Said it during every single game. We cannot continually get down at halftime every single game because when we do, what happens? You have to play 3 times as hard to get back caught up, and then you still have to have enough gas in the tank to try to come out and win the game. doesn't really work like that for us, and it showed the entire time. So it was a really hard game to watch overall. The snooze fest, honestly, and just continued to show that the Colts are not where they should be. You would think with, again, paying this O-line $41.5 million, they would figure something out by this point. Maybe the O-line would figure something out by this point. Still, I think there's a lot of miscommunication going on. I don't know whether the guys aren't talking with each other, during practice, outside of practice, or what the case is, but there is no rhythm there. That's supposed to be a well-oiled machine. It's the only spot on the field where all 5 guys are responsible for everything. If one person's off their game, then everything is off. You can't just take care of yourself. You have to take care of everyone on the line. And it's just been the biggest letdown for us this year, especially after what we saw last year. Of course, it probably made a difference that JT wasn't in there. We lost Naheem to the trade. So there are a couple factors that definitely played a role in this as well. But we saw what Dion did 2 weeks ago. I mean, he looked really good. So you would think that we could figure something out. Maybe the O-line could get it together for one time and just let Sam cut loose out there. I mean, again, going back to Matt Pryor, he looked so bad that they eventually pulled him out in replacement with Fries, which I thought was a great choice. Did it help us out completely? No, because the O-line was still shot. But I just don't understand how Pryor has been down the line of positions to play, and yet we still managed to keep putting him in to start the game. So I don't understand where that's coming from. Just overall terrible play from him. So I was glad to see that Fries went in there. But again, we're going to let up 9 sacks and 12 hits. I mean, what do you expect? And you can kind of tell that Sam started getting a little frustrated and nervous with that as well, because anytime he had a little bit of time, he was already shifty and shaking back there trying to figure out, how can I roll out to this, or where should I go with the ball? So I think that some of his passes were rushed. And that's what I was saying earlier with the 15 of 29. Obviously, 103 yards isn't good. 1 interception, no touchdowns is not good at all. But I like to think that some of those passes probably could have been a little more spot on had he not been having the amount of pressure he had, and even the plays where he didn't have a ton of pressure. I'm sure in the back of his mind he was thinking, well, I'm probably going to get hit, so I better figure out a way to get this ball, because Belichick and the defense did not stop the stunts the entire game. They just kept them coming, play after play after play after play. And as I was watching the game, I just thought to myself, they have to be racking up all kind of new unwanted stats for us. Like I said, we were down 13-0 at halftime, typical Colts fashion. But then they brought up another stat saying that we are the only team in the NFL to be trailing in the fourth quarter of every single game this season. I'm going to read that back one more time. The only team in the NFL to be trailing in the fourth quarter of every game this season. That's ridiculous. It means we have never gone into cruise control mode going into the fourth quarter. We're always playing from behind. You can't win like that. You can't win, because at this point now you're trying to play as hard as you can, play as fast as you can. Teams know what you have to do. We're one-dimensional. We can't run the ball, so they know we're going to have to pass the ball. Well, when we can't block long enough to get the pass out, they don't even have. They don't even have to stack the box for us. They can just send one backer down. Honestly, there were a couple plays where we had four total defensive linemen and backers coming through to 5 offensive linemen, and they still managed to get to Sam, still get him down. So it was just rough to see all the way around. We had a grand total of 121 yards on offense, the lowest by any NFL game this season. That's just horrendous. That speaks for itself. 121 total yards on offense. I don't really know what else to say about that. It's just terrible. We now drop down to the 32nd ranked offense, back down to the 32nd ranked offense. We were there earlier during the year. We had a couple good games where we scored a decent amount of points, so that bumped us up above the Steelers. But now we just fade right back down, averaging 14.7 points a game, back to 32. And again, which is crazy to think about when just last year we had the Russian champion. I'm not sure how many yards we were averaging last season, but we were definitely flying high, a lot higher than what we are right now. So I mentioned all these negative stats just to say, clearly nothing changed with Fire and the OC this week. Still the same bland play calling that we've seen all season long, which is what I said would happen. I said there's no way in the world all of a sudden you're going to fire one guy and everything's going to change. It just doesn't work like that. And yes, I understand it hasn't even been a full week. However, this wasn't something that was just, oh, we lost, you got to get out of here. The same way they said that Matt Ryan was already going to be planned to be benched, they knew they were going to be getting rid of Brady at some point. So you would think that they would have had something in store, some kind of system for the offense to run off of. Frank Reich is still the play caller. He still holds responsibility. As I mentioned last episode, if you don't like a formation or how the play is going to go, you have the authority to change as a head coach. You have complete control over that. So firing the OC, again, scapegoat out of there. Maybe we should look at firing the offensive line coach. Maybe we should still look at clearing house. I mean, I've been saying it for months now that we should be clearing house. But again, it seems to be one of those things where we're going to continue to just go week by week and see who we can slowly but surely place the blame on, because we can't seem to take responsibility or accountability for our own actions. And by we, I mean Frank Reich. So going into defense, I think defense was very mediocre today. They weren't great, but they damn sure weren't as bad as the offense was. That's pretty clear. Of course, we let up 26 points. We don't want to see that happening. We got to get turnovers. That's been the big thing all season long I've talked about, is the difference between us this year on defense versus last year on defense. No turnovers. We are not getting any turnovers. Last year, we were averaging 1 or 2 turnovers a game, so it was just making life great because we always had a chance. And not only were we averaging those turnovers, we were scoring on them. We would get the fumbles and score, get pick six and score. So those are big things that you have to have. I mean, Bobby Okereke, he looked stout running through the line on that one blitz he had, the tackle for a loss. No one touched him. D-line was looking really good. D-Buck, 1 sack, 7 tackles. Kwity Paye, 1 sack, 8 tackles. I mean, they were doing what they were supposed to do. Okereke even got that peanut punch fumble, which was very nice in the third quarter. I mean, if you just saw that was just a classic Shaq Leonard peanut punch. He went in, his eyes were locked on the ball, cocked back, and just smoked it right out of the running back's hand. That's what we need. That's what we have to have all the time. We have to have the defense flying on all cylinders. But another thing we have to do is give the defense a break. We can't expect the defense to go out there and play that hard every single game, every single drive, when they're only getting 5 minutes on the bench, or not even 5 minutes, 2-3 minutes on the bench in football time. We know in reality the time is longer because they're going to be taking breaks and each play is a little bit longer. But in reality of football game time, they're getting less than 5 minutes on the bench. That's no time to recover, to get back out there and have to be on the field for another 10 minutes as a team is driving downfield on you. So you have to figure out a way to make life easier for them. I mean, the defense shows up every single week. They may not show out, but they show up. Offense isn't showing up, and they damn sure aren't showing out. So it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to watch. It's embarrassing to watch. It's embarrassing to see. Week after week, it's the same thing, and we try to be positive, and we try to think of, well, this could change for the next week. Well, this could change for the next week. But it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. You have to be consistent. You have to. And when we have an O-line that has consistently sucked all year, I mean, I don't know what else to do. You fire your OC. Doesn't change anything. You switch up the offensive line for the 7,000th time this season. Doesn't change anything. We get rid of a decent player that we had at running back. Hurts us. I mean, there's just nothing good going on. There's nothing good going on right now in this organization. And it's always just the same thing of, well, we got some things to clean up. There's next week. We got to figure this out. There's next week. We can do this. There's next week. Well, next weeks are going to run out. they are running out. And we'll go down that rabbit hole here in just a minute. But I want to talk about special teams as well, because special teams, I mean, this is the one game where we had a blocked punt. Patriots blocked our punt. We definitely don't want that. That set them up in great position to score again. These things, they happen. Unfortunately, we don't want them to happen. But when we look at our season, it's like, well, what do you expect? What more could you? It's just the icing on the cake. After we play this badly during the game, I expect the punt to be blocked. I expect the field goal to be blocked. And speaking of field goals being blocked, one wasn't blocked, but Chase missed that field goal for us. And did it make a difference in the grand scheme of things? No, but I think it definitely is a morale hit whenever you do miss that, because not only do you think about how the offense finally was able to drive downfield a little bit, and then we stall out on the missed field goal, but also the kicker, Chase is going to feel down about it as well. So it just doesn't help out the situation any. It makes everybody's life a lot harder when there are pieces of the puzzle that are lost and you just still haven't found a way to figure it out, be that on offense, defense, and special teams. And it makes me just go into the whole post-game shenanigans of Frank Reich. He goes down his same rabbit hole that he always does. Quote from him directly after the game says, "I know this doesn't carry weight out there, but you are never as far off as you think." I'm going to repeat that because I butchered that. So Frank Reich said it in the post-game interview. "I know this doesn't carry weight out there, but you're never as far off as you think." Well, I don't know how many times we can say this same lovey-dovey stuff and it be okay, because it's not. It's not. I can't blame the O-line. We're not as far as away. We're only just 1-2 things away from getting to where we need to be. Well, when you are now in week 9 and you're 3-5-1, yeah, of course we may still be second in the AFC South, but overall the team is garbage. As I've said before, you're not going to go into the playoffs and do anything. So I really wish Eric was here right now so I could argue with him on this one, because this is what I was saying here earlier in the season where, yeah, okay, fine. Obviously, we don't want to tank. We don't want to just give up all hope. But at the same time, we have to be realists here. You can't sit here and act like this team is going to just flourish out of nowhere and now just win the remaining games of the season, because it doesn't work like that. We have dug ourselves into a gigantic hole. There's no way to get out. We should have addressed some of these problems at the beginning, but it was, it's just the first game. Oh, it's just the second game. Oh, it's just the third game. Oh, the season is still going on. Gosh, you keep forgetting. We had 5 out of our first 7 games were all divisional games. We only have 1 left, and that's against the Texans at the end of the season. And at the pace we're going, we're probably going to lose to them too. So it doesn't look too hot. That's why I didn't want to get on this whole thing of, oh, Colts fans are stressing out. Oh, you guys are overthinking it. XYZ. No one's overthinking it. You can see the problems, and we did not address a single problem this entire season. We thought that maybe we'd pick up a veteran receiver. Well, no, we like what we have. We thought that maybe the team would step up, once Matt kind of got comfortable and the O-line stepped up. Nope, that never happened. Matt gets injured. Well, we were already going to bench him anyway. Well, offense still isn't firing. We're going to fire the offense coordinator now. At this point, who do we put the blame on now? Because Frank Reich has said week after week that it's my fault. It starts with me. It's not the O-line, it's me. Not this person, it's me. It's not this person, it's me. It's not that thing, it's me. Well, how many me's can we get? Because now we have gone through 8 weeks of it's me, it's me. Well, if it's you, then maybe you should be the one that shouldn't be here. I just find it so hard to believe that Jim Irsay can go to bed every single night and say, you know what, even though we lost, I'm happy with what we have going on here. Because you're just lying to yourself. You're in denial. You're delusional to what's going on around you. With those glory days are long gone. You have to realize that it's a new day and age. We have to figure out how we can make ourselves better. And it starts at the top, as we always say. It starts at the top. Get rid of your head coach. Get rid of your general manager. Then you start cleaning the house with everybody else. Let the new head coach come in and do what they need to do. Now, I don't think that Irsay will make any rash decisions tonight. I'll be shocked if he did. Of course, this was the first game where he decided not to comment after the game. Usually he's really big on just saying, oh, well, it's a game, or we're not concerned with it, or we'll bounce back next week. But he decided not to comment after this game. And it has to leave a sour taste in your mouth. I mean, for one, we already have a terrible history against the Patriots as it is through the Peyton and Tom Brady days where we lost to them so many times. But we had our great games with them where we won a couple as well. But we'll have to leave a sour taste in your mouth that now for the umpteenth time, we're having to have the same speech. The 6th time this season for sure, where we're saying, well, it can get better. Oh, we just need to figure this out. I just have to ask Colts Nation, have you guys had enough? Has everyone finally had enough? Because I'm starting to see on Twitter and on Facebook and Instagram, people are saying, oh, we need to make changes. Now we need to do this. Now we need to do that. When this is the same energy I was trying to bring weeks ago, because you could see that there weren't going to be any changes to happen throughout this season. We could see that the demise was still continuing to go on. So it's just hard for me because when I look at the rest of our schedule, I mean, it honestly truly makes me nervous because the rest of the schedule is going to be rough. I mean, it's going to be terrible. If you think we've had it rough so far right now, looking at our future here for us, next week we play the Raiders, who are coming off of their third straight week of being up big and losing. So I don't know whether that's going to be some real fuel for them to play hard against us, or we may luck out and be that fourth team to come out and beat them. And after that, the Eagles, the Steelers, the Cowboys, the Vikings, the Chargers, the Giants, and then we close it out with the Texans. So I say all those teams because the schedule, our easy part is done. Our easy part is done, and we showed that we couldn't handle that. We're 3-5-1 after the quote easy portion of our schedule. Now it's about to get real, and I just don't know. I don't know how we can bounce back and change anything. And people will say, probably, well, if we fire Frank Reich, what good is that going to do during the season? And I understand that. I know it causes just more turmoil whenever you fire your head coach during the season because then you have to find someone to step up and take that role, et cetera, et cetera. But are we willing to do that? Or are we willing to accept the fact that maybe at the end of the season, not maybe, that for sure at the end of the season, Frank has to go because it's just gotten to a point where you can't keep tolerating this. You can't deal with this. I mean, I can't imagine the morale in the locker room is any better. I know it has to be bad. Every time we see players, they're saying how, well, we got to get better. We have to figure this out. I mean, I know they're talking to journalists and reporters and they don't want to talk bad, but there has to be something going on. You mean to tell me that no one is truly that frustrated that they are losing? This is their job. This is their livelihood. This is what they live and breathe. The same way you go to work every single day, you try your best for what it's worth. And I'm sure it upsets you when things don't go the way they're supposed to. So I can't imagine when you're doing something like playing football, a sport that you love, something that, that so few people in the world get to do. You get to play at this elite level, and you're just like, oh, it's okay. It's okay that we're 3-5-1. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. And again, I don't really want to talk about Naheem too much. I know he's not in the squad anymore. But when I saw his press conference, his introduction press conference to Buffalo, dude was giddy. He was excited to be there. And it makes me wonder, well, was he excited to be there because he's excited to be on the Bills, or is he excited to be there because he's excited to be out of the Colts organization? Because, I mean, I just feel like it was a complete morale flip. And I just think that the Colts team as a whole, you just have to be wondering what's going on in that locker room or what's going on at practice. Because I just don't think that I would have that much trust in my coach if I see nothing's changing. It just bugs me. And again, I don't know what Irsay will do moving forward. I think that he is someone who he truly thinks that everything is fine the way it is. But I just have to be a realist here and then just say that after this performance we saw against the Patriots, I mean, for the sixth time this year, the proof is in the pudding. This organization is just not good. The team is just not good. So I don't know how much more of this anyone can take, but it was just a very frustrating game. And I hate to spend, 20 plus minutes just blabbering on about how bad it is, but this wasn't a competition. It was a competition for the first quarter because the Patriots weren't alive yet. But once they woke up, then it wasn't a competition. It was just a slaughter. And again, going into the next couple of weeks or the remainder of the season, I can foresee this all happening for the rest of the time. So it's just very unfortunate that we can't figure out what's going on and why, and we're going to continually play the game of, well, we can figure it out, or we're only one missing piece away, or we're only this away, we're only that away. That's just not the realistic answer to say. And I know everyone wants to be politically correct with their job because they don't want to overstep, or they don't want to say something that's going to jeopardize their livelihood. And I get that from Frank Reich's perspective. I would never expect a head coach to give us all the true things that are going on. But when you say things like, I haven't watched the film yet, we'll have to go back and watch the film to see what it is. You have to wonder, I mean, what film do you need to watch? We were all watching the same game. We all watch the same game. You have a headset on. You can hear what's going on. You can hear all the offensive coaches yelling about what's going on in that headset. So I don't know what film you need to watch to figure out what's going on when some adjustments were made during the game. That tells you exactly what it was. But, Colts Nation, we love them. We love you guys. And we're going to always be here day in and day out, worried about the Colts and hoping, praying for their success. But it has to start somewhere. So, guys, we're going to keep the positivity as much as we can and hope that going into next week or going into this upcoming week against the Raiders, we can have a new perspective on everything. But again, if you have not, make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We're talking Twitter at the Colts Cast, Instagram at Colts Cast. And on YouTube, the Colts Cast. We post stuff on there bi-weekly. You're going to always see pregame shows, postgame shows. We're running YouTube shorts. We do it all. So make sure you come out there, check us out. Colts Nation, we love you. Hoping for a better week next week. But y'all take care. Have a great start to your week, and we look forward to seeing you later on this week. Take care, guys.